My name is Jeremy Dalley. I'm a PA here at Ada West Dermatology. I am originally from Pocatello, Idaho. Lived there for most of my life and went to school at Idaho State University. I went to Texas Tech University after that, where I finished my PA school and worked in emergency medicine, family medicine in El Paso, Texas. Then I moved up to Idaho, back closer to home, and worked in Twin Falls for the last 9 years in family medicine, and last year joined Ada West. So super excited to be here. I've always wanted to work in dermatology. That since I started in medicine and started practicing, it's an area of interest that I've always really liked. I've always liked the skin, always liked being able to treat patients for things that I can see, and super gratifying to have a patient come in and take care of a skin disease or skin cancer and have a definitive treatment for the patient, and then they can visibly feel and look better after the treatment. I love being able to connect with patients in family medicine and being able to see family members of patients and just being able to build relationships with people. I think that's such an important part of practicing medicine, that we're able to get to know our patients. And I think we can treat them better and they feel more comfortable with us when we build those relationships with them. A lot of patients feel like they're not heard. And so being able to come in and express whatever their concern is with their health or their skin, and we can address it together, and they feel like this is a team approach. And I've always told patients that medicine should be them coming to see me for my expertise, but I want to make sure that whatever we're doing is something they're comfortable with and something that is going to meet their needs as far as, you know, wanting to fix a problem or wanting to help them. Yeah, I wish more patients understood how important it is to protect their skin. It's such a, we talk about it a lot. We talk about how important it is to put on sunscreen and to use hats and to put on long sleeves, but it really becomes I think it becomes a reality for patients when they're here having skin cancer surgeries, and we want to prevent those things. Obviously, we want to be able to treat the patients that come in for those concerns, and we want to be able to identify and treat skin cancers, but so many of them are preventable. And so if we can help to stress that with patients and they can protect their skin while they're younger and not just after they get their first skin cancers, then I think we can see a lot less patients having skin diseases like skin cancer as they get older. And that means less visits here, that means less healing. And even though we do our best, it still is, it's hard. It's hard on people to have to go through those time and again, especially if they have more than one skin cancer. Well, I think there's so many ways that we can stay current on information. There's so many different organizations, dermatologic organizations that are just on a regular basis trying to stay ahead of whatever diseases or new treatments, and there's always something changing. And so the cool thing is we work with so many well-educated people, and we all teach each other things. There's things that I learn every day from other providers and things that hopefully I get to teach to some of my colleagues as well. But I think that's one of the best ways, is just that relationship that we have with our colleagues here and being able to educate each other. But you know, making sure that we go to conferences, and there's so much literature that's available, and there's actually so many resources through different websites. There's one called ViewMedi that has videos that are posted by dermatologists, just things that they're seeing as far as clinical trends and good data and good practices that they're trying to integrate. And much more than ever, we have available information that we can integrate into our practice. I think there's a few different trends that we might see in dermatology in the future. Some I think are related to people, especially I think this generation really cares about appearance. And sometimes because of that, there's a lot of cosmetic treatments that are done, and sometimes those cosmetic treatments don't always benefit the patient in the long run. So I think we're going to see patients that are dealing with maybe side effects of doing too much cosmetic treatment, and there's certain types of cosmetic agents that may not be great for the skin as time goes on. So I think we'll be dealing with maybe different diseases or aging processes that are related to overuse of some of these cosmetic products. My favorite moisturizer is CeraVe. It's one that it is easy to put on, it feels good on my face, and I use a nighttime moisturizer and a daytime moisturizer that has sunscreen in it. And it's nice to just put it on at the beginning of the day. Skin feels better, it feels healthier, especially in Idaho where it's so dry. And so the most moisturizers that I use are typically CeraVe products. For my kids, it just kind of depends on what they're needing, but we use products like La Roche-Posay. There's some good, especially for acne treatment. I've got teenagers, and so they're working on clearing skin and working through some of those things. So La Roche-Posay has some really nice products that we use for acne treatment and for moisturization. I would say my biggest influence are my parents. They've always been very supportive of me. They've always seen the things that I maybe didn't see in myself, especially when I was younger, and encouraged me and helped me to see maybe what my potential could be. And a couple of years ago, I lost my dad. And so a lot of the lessons that he taught me have been they've just become a lot more valuable to me. So the things that he taught me, the influence that he had on me, and the way I try to conduct myself, I feel like I'm trying to represent my family name because of that. The advice that I would give to my 15-year-old self is to believe in yourself. I think it's so easy to feel like, to see our weaknesses and to feel like we can't achieve things because oftentimes people around us, especially people that don't have our best interest, are likely to say that we can't do it. But if I could go back and tell myself, just believe that you can achieve things in your life, you can do things. And I think that would have helped me a little bit. Maybe 15-year-old self, I don't know if I would have listened. So I think one thing that might surprise some people is I like learning new languages. I learned Tagalog. It's a Filipino language when I was in my early 20s on a mission, and just a really interesting language that has a lot of different influence on it, from some South Pacific words to even Spanish words. And then living in El Paso, I was able to learn to speak Spanish, and so it's such an important thing for me to be able to communicate with people. And I think when you can hear things in your own language, it rings so much more true to you, or it connects with you a lot more than if you're having someone interpret that language. So that was always really important to me, is just being able to communicate with people in their own language. If I had to describe myself in 3 words, I would say probably stubborn. That's something my wife can attest to, that if I decide that I want to do something, even if it's maybe a difficult path to take, that I'm going to stay the course, or sometimes doing things the hard way. I think that I'm thoughtful. Anything that I try to do at work or at home, I feel like I try to think about maybe how it's going to affect other people, or how I could maybe do some good for other people by whatever influence I have in that moment. But I think the other one would be just goofy, and you probably don't see it as much at work, but at home I feel like I'm goofy, and I would just like to make my wife and my kids laugh and joke around, and I feel like those are pretty good descriptors. I wish this wasn't true, but the one thing that I can't resist is Coke Zero. I don't know why. I like Coke Zero, and that is my vice. A fun fact about me is I really like sports, and in high school I was a pretty good football player and had the opportunity to play football at several different universities. I didn't end up playing, I ended up doing different things, but at one point in my life I was fairly athletic, and I don't know that is still the case anymore, but kind of fun.